everybody. Like mentioned, I am Gishanka Pereira. Before carrying on with my speech, I would want to mention a quote by an individual that I'm pretty sure all of you all are aware of. The individual I'm talking about right now is former President Barack Obama. In one of his speeches, he stated, if there was a child in the South Side that wasn't able to read, it affects me as if that was my child. If there was a senior citizen that had to pick either to pay for his or her rent or for the medical care, that makes my life poorer, even if that wasn't my grandparent. It's the fundamental belief that I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes a country work. Now let that quote sink in. Imagine a classroom where all the children are sat, where there are no notebooks or pencils on the table, but all of them are eager to learn. This is a story I'll be sharing with you. I was fortunate enough to volunteer as an English teacher at an underfunded school in Sri Lanka. I learned a lot, and I'll be explaining that story with you all today. But this isn't just a story about an underfunded school or the struggles of communities. It's a story about connection. It's about you and me. It's about us and how our lives are all connected and how all of our lives are actually linked, even if you do not realize it. It's important to understand that your actions or what you do for another person may affect another person's life or another person's story more than you realize it. If we are to be honest, I'm pretty sure everyone that's present here today and everyone watching at home does not really realize this, realize that your actions or everybody's life is actually connected. Look around you right now. The person that's sitting across the hall from you, you probably don't think that your actions affect them. We all think that we all live in our own bubble, but that's not the case. Many of you probably believe that your problems, that the struggles that you go through do not affect another person. Many of you all probably think that whatever achievements or whatever actions that you do not affect another individual. That's a complete lie. It does, and it very much does. And it is sad to see that many people around the world do not really realize this. It's important to understand that in a country such as Sri Lanka, where the education system is beneficial to many, however, the country, through statistics, is stated that over 95% of children in Sri Lanka have a good education. However, there is still a 5% chance, there's still a 5% statistic that states that there are children that are below the poverty line and that do not have a good education and they do not obtain the needed education that they need to have. This means that these children do not get the fundamental education such as to learn a basic language such as English. You see, it's statistically proven in Sri Lanka especially, knowing the language English would increase your income by 30 to 50%, but yet the language of English isn't really provided to every child. And I realized this in my volunteering experience when I was teaching English at this school, that all these students had one thing in common, that they wanted a better future, that they were all eager to learn the new subject of English, not just because they wanted to pass an exam. Many of you here may be studying, going home every single day, study, memorizing this textbook, and then vomiting it all during your exam. But those children there do not just do it for that sake. They do it for their future because they realize that learning such a language, such as English, may open so many more gates that could help their future, that could change the part of their lives. It's important to understand that these children that I taught, they greeted me with smiles that you cannot imagine. The struggles they go through every single day is unimaginable, especially for such gifted people that are presented here today. Understand that these individuals, these highly talented children that have incredible potential, do not have a pencil, a notebook, or even shoes. Now, let that sink in for a second. A pencil. When was the last time you lost a pencil and did not really think twice about it? When was the last time you were like, I can replace that pencil. It's completely fine. Your notebook. How many times have you doodled on your notebook thinking that it's just a page or it's just a notebook which I can easily purchase again? Shoes. Think about how many pairs of shoes you have at your home. How many pairs of shoes that you have at home that you do not really use, that you do not really need. The children that I met that day at this underfunded school in Sri Lanka did not even have a single pair of shoes to wear to school. Now imagine if you were that child. Imagine if you were the child that did not have a pair of shoes to go to school. Would you guys still be happy? Would you still be eager to go to school every day? For most, probably not. Because you all care about what your appearance looks like. But for those children, it's completely different. Every day when I met them for more than a week. And every day they had a smile on their face. They were eager to learn. Even though the struggles that they went through at home, they understood it and they knew that the education they were about to obtain is their gateway to a better future. It's important to understand that many of these children come to school hungry, not because they forgot their meal, but because there was no food at home. These children come to school every single day hungry, but not just because of food, because they wanted the knowledge, the opportunity to learn something new and use that for their advantage in the future, because they understand the importance. In addition, these children were given a meal every day. Like I mentioned, they were very financially unstable. They come from very financially unstable families. So the school had to provide a meal. But the school itself was underfunded. So a generous family that was miles away in the UK was really nice enough to give meals to every single student. It's a nice gesture, isn't it? But here's the twist. None of these children, 99% of the student population in the school did not eat their meal. Why? Because they would save that meal, take it home, and share it among their family. Because they understand the situation that their family is in. They understand that one meal, it would be precious to not just them, but their entire household. So now realize this. A meal that is given to a child. And mind you, that the students that I was teaching were from grade 1 to 5. A student in grade 5's meal supported an entire household for a day. Do you think you'll be able to survive every single day, surviving with this one meal which you have to share among your parents? Think about this. How many times have you all not had a meal just so that your family will be able to eat a meal? You all might have done this once or twice, but these children do this every single day. And they have no problem with it. And that's the power of connection. They understand their family situation. They understand that this one meal is not just going to help them, but also their family as well. Moving on. These students were given the opportunities to learn a new language. And they understand that this language that they would learn would not be something that they'll be able to practice on a daily basis. Yet, these children took their hard-earned effort, took the effort to stay after school and come early to school every single day because they understand the importance of English, something that most of us take for granted. Know that the power of connection really hit me. When you give something, you don't really realize the impact that you would have to another individual. Maybe you do. But do you really realize the impact that you have on yourself? Because in the end of the day, as much as you give to another person, it impacts your own life as well. Because all our lives are interconnected, like I mentioned before. We are all part of this one big world, this one big story of humanity. When I was about to leave, my final few days of teaching in this school, I felt these students hugged me in a way in which I was able to feel their emotions, to feel the bond that I have created, not just as their teacher, but as someone that believed in them, that understood what they were worth, and understood that through their hard work, that they'll be able to achieve their dreams. These students knew that they knew that the importance of what I had come there to provide for them was worthless. In addition, these students basically mentioned how, these students basically learned English to the extent where they would prefer to speak in the language of English instead of their own mother tongue, because they've realized that the practice actually makes perfect. We often think our lives are very disconnected from the struggles of others. And mind you, that's a complete lie, like I mentioned. We are all threads in a symbol, in the same fabric. Once one thread is pulled, whether you realize it or not, the entire cloth is a mess. You must realize that the struggles that another person experiences might affect a struggle that another person experiences, you will be able to fix easily. It's important that you understand that once you give something, it's not just the experience of you giving. It's on the effort that it's the effort that takes place when giving, right? Because like I mentioned, there is always a return effect for you. And even though you might not realize it always, it's definitely there. In this tapestry of life, every single thread matters. Every single action, every act of kindness, every opportunity provided becomes a part of a bigger picture, a bigger story. Not just for you, but for a lot more people, for a lot of people around the world. Because we come together, and when we recognize the importance of giving and the importance of helping one another, and understanding that our actions are beneficial for another person, and that our actions will actually support another individual, it's important that we do our very best to help each other. Because in the end of the day, it's not just your life. It's so many other people, so many more children. As you may be able to understand me right now speaking in English, there are so many more other children that will not be able to do that. So you must realize that do not take everything for granted. Especially when there are millions of children, not just in Sri Lanka, but around the world, that do not have the gift that you all have. The education that you all achieve, the education that you all are given. Realize that a simple act of kindness can go a long way. the simple act of generosity can go a long way, especially to a group of students that really understand and value it. Before I wrap up my speech, I just want to mention, whenever possible, it's important that we always help each other out. No matter from what background this individual may come from what country this individual may come from what culture, religion, etc., the list goes on. It's important that we help each other out, because in the end of the day, we are all in the same story together. We are all human, and that's how all of our lives are connected. So with that, I would like to end my speech. Thank you.